Schneider. I'm in a 4-5 multi-age classroom. I am just about to finish up my 18-week placement, so I'm about week 16. It's been going great. I mean, it's a huge change from my last placement, which was a kindergarten, 15 kids. I jumped to a 4-5, 44 kids. So it's definitely a change in curriculum, change of children's attitudes towards school, but it's been positive. I can't say that there isn't any negative towards this at all. Kids are great. They have a desire to learn, which is awesome. They like me, which is great. I was afraid that they wouldn't, I haven't worked with older kids before. My teachers are great. It's the first time I've worked with cooperating teachers or two teachers that, balance ideas off of each other and everything like that. So I've really benefited from this classroom placement for sure. I mean, I knew that I had to do edTPA, but I couldn't really tell you exactly what it was. I did some research on it, but that boot camp was really helpful to me. They talked about what it was, why I needed to do it, and how I should go about doing it. So that was probably most beneficial for me. Otherwise, I would have jumped into it completely confused and had no idea what I was doing. It was helpful to see all of the familiar faces of people that I've been going to class with there too that are in the same boat as me, knowing that's just not me. There's all of us, we all have to do it together. And so boot camp, telling us what we needed to do, even providing us with a checklist. I still have my checklist of everything that I needed to finish in the semester, finish up edTPA, the way I need to do it, the timeline to do it in. Very, very helpful for me, for sure.
I looked at the standards and they coincide. I mean, we're always doing things to be reflective, and we're lifelong learners, so they coincided really well. I was actually filling out her evaluation, and the edTPA and the Educated Effectiveness of Wisconsin and all of that aligned very well, and it flows. So it's nothing above and beyond like extra.
It actually wasn't that bad. If you followed the timetable that was given, task 1 needs to be completed here, task 2 needs to be completed around this time, and task 3 to finish it up, it wasn't bad at all. If one was to wait and, last minute for all of it, then it was gonna be a heavy workload. But doing it a little bit at a time and following that timetable of when it's supposed to be done, not bad at all. I really liked the reflection part of edTPA. And I mean, that's what, I learned about myself as well. You reflect on your classroom, the classroom context. You reflect on your pre-assessment, your planning, your instruction, and your assessment. So each specific part, you go back and you think about, well, like the first part, about my students. What about my students can I highlight in my lesson? What about what they have learned? How can I make them successful? The planning part, thinking about how this lesson is going to go above and beyond what is needed for these students in order for them to be successful. Instruction and then assessment, same thing. Assessment, you look at, well, what did I do? Did these students get the material that I wanted them to get out of this? Did they learn something new? The most important thing is that they walked out of here with some sort of new knowledge, something they didn't know when they walked in. And then, is there a portion that they didn't understand? Do I need to go back, and do I need to look back at it? So reflection for sure was probably the most beneficial part of edTPA. The only thing that I probably struggled with was just maintaining that timeline, making sure that I worked and I got my materials done when I should have gotten them done, so I didn't fall too far behind. But that was a very minimal struggle, if that.
Well, Julia had a lot of responsibilities like planning lessons, teaching the lessons, and the edTPA piece fit right in. She was always prepared, planning lessons, but the extra piece was to videotape herself. And I felt that helped her be more reflective as a student teacher, because she had to watch the videos and take on that responsibility, collecting permission slips, making sure that students could be filmed, that communication piece with parents to kind of start her 18-week placement off was a nice segue, helping her get situated in our classroom. But it just helped her to be more of a reflective professional, because she had to take that extra step recording herself. In the past, I haven't had student teachers necessarily do that.
Oh, definitely working out with my cooperative teacher. She was so helpful with that. And I asked her, when you would like me to go about doing these lessons, and I told her that I needed to, pre-assess and then post-assess, and she helped me walk through that, giving me specific days on which would work well. She helped me, prepare for the videotaping. I had to break my kids up into smaller groups because 44 students, at one time doing one lesson was a little bit overwhelming. So she helped me pick groups that are going to be successful together, pick students in those groups that are going to be successful. She helped me modify the instruction so that all of my students were able to do it. And then she was also there just to watch and to observe and to help me out. If she saw something in this group that could be changed or that was really good, she let me know so then I could do it and fix it for the second group or the third group that I needed to do it with. I personally really loved the writing days because when I went home after student teaching for a full day, I wouldn't get home until 4, and by that time I'm like exhausted and I just kind of want to relax for a little bit, and by that time I would focus myself on edTPA. I wouldn't have much time before I had to get myself ready for the next day. So having those 3 specific days, or 4 if you preferred, to just focus on writing or just to focus on your edTPA, it was so helpful for me because then I was in the mindset for over this course of those hours, and then I just knew that's all I needed to worry about for the day was that, and I could stay as long as I needed to. Supervisors were there walking around asking us if we had any questions, giving us feedback, so personally really enjoyed those writing days.
Well, I think with anything, change is difficult, and we don't like change, and we don't like to be, put out of our comfort zone. But I think edTPA is a process. It's just a different process. Like when the PDP came into place, everybody was so angst about the PDP process, and now it's just something that you have to do, and you're already doing those things. It's just a formality. It has a name, and I think with the edTPA, Julia was doing that anyway, just adding that, recording her doing it and sending it off to someone. So you're already doing those things, it's just giving it a name and a formality, and you check it off and you move on.
You're gonna get through it. I know that I thought, right off the bat, it was just like, ooh, okay. Like I was like, they've said no one's failed this, no one's died doing this, that it's gonna be fine, and it really was. So it was nothing to fret about.